The following is an exclusive presentation of WI Garden Media, the voice of Garden Talk Radio. Coming up on the program today, it's about winter and summer squash, as well as the difference between perlite and vermiculite and what they're best used for. Our guest is author and chicken expert Lisa Steele, and we'll answer your garden questions. The hour is full, and it starts next.
You are listening to the most informationally packed hour of garden-focused radio in the country and on the internet with your host, husband and wife team Joey and Holly Baird. This is the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show.
And welcome to the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show. Happy that you have joined us on the program today. Whether you're listening to us on one of the 18 AM and FM frequencies carrying our program here in 2022, through our radio, through our parent website, the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com, underneath the Season 6 tab at the top of the page, in-studio video replay, podcast replay, or however you're capturing the show. Thank you very much. I am Joy Baird. I am your host. Alongside me is my wife, co-host, best friend, and gardening partner,
Holly Baird.
This program is for you, about you, to help your garden grow better, maintain your landscape, grow healthier trees, make your grass look greener, as well as preserving what you grow. A couple of ways in which you can partake in the program, besides just letting it fill your ears. If you want to ask a question or let us know where you're listening from, you can do that in two different ways. One is by emailing us, gardentalkradio@gmail.com. That's gardentalkradio@gmail.com. Or you can give us a call on the Proclamation Hotline, brought to you by Proclamation Goods. That number is 1-800-927-7469. Again, 1-800-927-SHOW. That's SHOW. Proclamation Hotline, brought to you by Proclamation Goods.
Proclamation Goods creates cookware for the eco-conscious home chef. Their pans are non-toxic, have a lifetime warranty, and are made in Wisconsin. Their award-winning stainless steel Proclamation Duo cookware set is a 12-inch skillet and a stock pot that doubles as a wok. Best of all, the skillet and stock pot hinge together to form a Dutch oven. It's two pans with the versatility of 10, empowering you to cook more with less. If you care about your health and strive for a more sustainable lifestyle, then Proclamation Goods is for you. Supply is limited, so order yours now at proclamationgoods.com.
And before we get into the program, I want to address a question that we had. Several of the same type of question have come in this week, and it's in regards to Timber Pro Coatings internal wood stabilizer. Holly, we had several questions come in. What was that? What was that? So
yeah, they wanted to know what we were talking about.
Right. It's Timber Pro Coatings from Timber Pro Coatings. The website is timberprocoatingsusa.com. It's an internal wood stabilizer. It protects the wood from the inside out. It never wears off. It's really good for raised beds, chicken coops, decks, patios, you name it. It's the ideal thing. So timberprocoatingsusa.com. If you go to our parent website, the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com, and search or and click on the Season 6 tab at the top of the page, all of the sponsors you hear during the program are listed there. And if you want coupon codes, you go under the Money tab at the top of the page to help you out. Well,
the Money tab.
The Money tab. So we're going to help you out and go over summer squash and winter squash, because there are gardeners, there are people in many different avenues, but they think that summer squash is something you grow in the summer and winter you grow in the winter. I've had these questions. We've had these questions asked to us, and they're just uneducated. That's all it is. They just don't know.
Right,
if you told me a widget digit went in the front of a car to make it turn better, I maybe would think that might be a questionable thing. But
a widget digit?
A widget digit.
Okay.
Next to the thingamadig.
Next to the thingamadig. Okay. So
it's just uneducated. They have a question. That means they want to learn.
Right. No judgment.
Nope. No.
So summer squash is squash that is growing in the summer. I mean, they're both growing in the summer.
Yes, both are growing in the summer.
But summer squash is the one that is going to be eaten during the summer. It doesn't have a long shelf life. Not that you can't eat winter squash during the summer.
And I will debunk that. We grow Black Beauty zucchini, and there's times where we let them grow much larger than what you may feel comfortable with, meaning 18, 20 inches and the size of a baseball bat. And we've kept them inside and have ate them in March from the harvest in August. Now that is
they're not always,
that's untraditional.
They're not always super delicious.
No. They're very dry, but they are edible.
But if you put them in like a soup or just like pan, saute them.
We tried the soup thing in the crock pot.
Right.
Saute them is the way we like it.
Or maybe if you have like a stew or something, you're adding a little bit of zucchini. I probably wouldn't recommend that for a patty pan or like a crookneck squash.
So you direct sow these. Don't buy these at your garden center. Either one. You get the seeds from Jung's. Use coupon code 10TG22. Save 10% on your order. And direct sow them because they are very root sensitive. They don't like to be moved around. Once they are established, you don't want to take them out of a seed tray and try to plant it. Direct sow them. 7 to 10 days, those suckers are up, and they are rolling.
Yeah. So they don't take long to germinate, and then once they grow, they're usually ready to harvest within 60 to 90 days.
But you have to do it after you have planted, right around or past the summer, the tomato planting, because these are not a cool plant. They want the heat.
Yeah, they're a warm weather crop. They want the heat. And again, like Joy said, like probably the week or so after you plant your tomatoes is when you would plant your summer squash. Now, if you do run into any sort of issue, you could always wait a little bit. Maybe if you aren't sure if it might get cold or something like that, or rainy where the seeds might get washed out and not germinate. So you can wait, but you do want to usually do them after the tomatoes.
Full sun for both of them. Yeah. The summer squash, again, 60 to 90 days to harvest. That harvesting is from the time it goes in the physical ground to the harvest. Winter squash, you're looking between 90, 100 to 120 days based on the variety. That's your full season there. And based on it, where you're at in the country, you may need to start these in undercover, or actually do what we don't want you to do, is start them in a tray or a cup in order to get a couple of weeks growth on them, because you are short. If you're in that zone 3 area in the far north, you don't have much time to play around. You've only got so many warm days and that's it.
Right. So you want to keep that in mind, that you want to be as efficient as possible, especially with the summer squash, because that's the one that
the winter squash.
The winter squash that takes the longer bit of time. So it's definitely recommended to plant them as soon as you can. So you might run into some issues. Summer squash, one issue that you might have is poor pollination. And so summer squash has, and a lot of viney plants do this, where they'll put their female flowers out first, and it's like a tester. So if you start seeing your female flowers come out, you want to go ahead and take and just touch the middle of that flower. You just tap each one in the middle, and it's going to indicate to the plant that, hey, I'm going to have some germination. I'm going to have some pollination, rather. And it's like not weird, but it's a plant science. Mm-hmm. Plants are not like, hey, I'm going to grow myself for humans. No, they're there to strive and survive and recreate more plants. So if this plant doesn't think it's going to have a chance of pollination, it won't put out as many male flowers as it might need. So if it thinks it's going to get pollinated, then it puts out more male flowers.
So again, for the summer squash, what are some very common summer squash varieties, Holly?
Sure. So summer squash, I had mentioned a couple, patty pan, and then there's zucchini. There's a few different varieties of zucchini. And then yellow crookneck, one called Kusa, which is becoming more popular. And then Chayota, or Chayote, I'm not really sure how you say it, but that is another one that's becoming more popular. And
typically, your summer squashes grow more in a bush type of cycle, or a typical growth in a bush. Your winter squash is the vine.
Right. So, yep. So then your summer squash
growth style. Style was the word I was looking for.
It's more bushier, more contained. So that being said, the winter squash, there are a few issues that you might run across. One of them is called powdery mildew, and this.
Well, both of them can.
Well, yeah, both of them can get this, but it's more common for the winter squash. Right. And there's a few things you can do. One is you can take a diluted vinegar water and spray that powdery mildew. We've used milk. Do we use anything else?
Milk and vinegar. The powdery mildew is a mildew, and by incorporating or adding that substance, whether it's vinegar, milk, or other means, you're disrupting the pH level on that leaf. Now, some people will swear that it will wash off, and wipe it off, and other people it will allow the plant to finish doing its growth. The mildew is preventing photosynthesis from occurring, blocking the sunlight, choking the plant off is what is occurring. The reason why powdery mildew exists, Holly, is because the cool nighttime temperatures, the dew or the water on the leaf cannot evaporate off before those nighttime temperatures come, and that's where the mildew comes. You don't have good air circulation in your bathroom, mildew occurs after a certain period of time. Same thing's happening on the leaves of these plants. Summer, you don't have it so much because that shorter life cycle, but the winter, because of the long duration, you have that. You also have squash vine borer.
Yeah, the squash vine borer is is it a moth?
Yeah, it's a moth.
Yeah, a moth. Yep. And what it does is it burrows eggs into the lower part of your winter squash, the lower part of the stalk, and then it kind of drills into the stalk. This
is the summer squash too. So this is everybody. So it's not discriminatory. It hits everybody
except for
butternut, because that stem is too thick for it to burrow into.
Right. So what it does is it drills into the stalk, and then it lays its eggs, and the eggs become larvae. So what will happen is you'll see that you'll go out there, see your zucchini or whatever, one of your squashes looks kind of sad, like wilty, and then you water it and you think, okay, well, maybe it was just a hot day, it needed water. You come back and it still looks wilty. So what happens is that larva is eating the inside of the stalk, taking away the nutrients.
So you want to cut a portion of, you want to do surgery, you want to open up the stalk at the place where you see the hole going in, typically right around the base or a couple inches from ground level, and make a 3 or 4 inch slit and just open it up like you would if you were doing it like on a human. And you're going to see this larvae, these little white worms, and you're going to dig them out and dispose of them. And that is and we've got videos on our parent website, the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com. Just type in squash vine borer, and we walk you through how to do this. And this is how we have had squash for many, many years. We surgically remove them, the larvae, in order for the squash to survive.
Now, some people do wait. They wait until after June to plant their squash, and that's
summer squash. But the winter don't work that way.
Not the winter, yeah, but the summer, because then that usually at that point the vine borer is done laying their larvae. So you do have that option if you have enough time, if your growing zone is long enough for that.
And some winter squash is butternut, spaghetti, acorn, pumpkins. Pumpkins. Gourds are a form of squash.
I think it's like a pink banana.
Pink banana, like yeah. There's a lot of winter squashes in which you can grow, and now you know a little bit more about how you can get them to sustain life when you have diseases such as powdery mildew and squash vine borer. Well, another way in which you can sustain yourself is by butchering your own animals, or at least getting spices and the tools you need in order to do cooking correct in your kitchen. We got a different coupon code, so hang out, and we'll give you that in a moment.
Yeah, WaltonsInc.com has everything you need. They are our sponsor, and it's been brought to you today by Waltons Inc. We know you care about where your food comes from. They have all sorts of spices and seasonings and supplies to make anything from sausage, jerky, any other meat product for just general cooking.
Thermometers, knives, sausage stuffers, the whole deal. You need everything but the meat, Waltons has it.
And they have hamburger presses. That's kind of fun. All sorts of great stuff. And then they have meatgistics.com, which is an informational site community where you can ask questions. There's 15,000 users to help educate and with the meat processing and whatnot process. So you can go to waltonsinc.com or meatgistics.com. There is a coupon code that we have. It's GROW50 to save 10% off orders of $50 or more and get free shipping. And then you can go ahead to waltonsinc.com and use that code.
Yeah, GROW50, GROW50. That's a new coupon code they've issued. So use that one, GROW50, to get 50 Get 10% off your order of $50 or more and get free shipping. When we come back, do you know what Perlite and Vermiculite are? Well, we're going to go over that. You're listening to the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show.
Got a question for Joey and Holly? Send it via email anytime to gardentalkradio@gmail.com.
A non-selective herbicide that is also USDA certified? You bet. No More Weeds by Naturally Green Products. The same great company that brings you no more bugs, no more weeds. Kills weeds with no harsh chemicals, no glyphosate. No More Weeds is a commercial-grade vinegar base with a proprietary sticking agent. Great around pools, decks, patios, etc. Visit natgreenproducts.com, enter promo code WEEDS, WEEDS, and buy 3 1-gallon size units. Get the 4th one free. Introducing the Johnny Appleseed Authentic Algeo Apple Tree, grafted from the last known surviving tree planted by the real Johnny Appleseed. The Johnny Appleseed Authentic Algeo Apple Tree was shepherded through nearly 200 years of American history by a family of rural Ohio farmers. Now you can grow this one-of-a-kind heirloom tree right in your own backyard. Order your tree today at shopjohnnyAppleseed.com. That's shopjohnnyAppleseed.com.
Spring is around the corner, folks, and Algae Men reminds you that this year, when it's time for spring cleaning, don't forget about the outside of your house. Algae Men is southeastern Wisconsin's go-to for exterior cleaning, including roofs, siding, decks, and concrete. So if you spot ugly black stains or green splotchy stuff on your home, let Algae Men get rid of it for you. We can restore the area back to its original look, not only in a timely manner, but also at an affordable cost. For a free estimate, visit us today at algaemen.com. Algae Men, we clean areas that you don't want to.
Rootmaker starts your plants off right and keeps them going through harvest. From their seed starting trays with an innovative design that air prunes the roots to their large variety of grow bags, 1 to 60 gallons. Their products will provide you with the harvest that you've never seen before. Visit rootmaker.com and use coupon code RADIO22 to save 15% off your order. That's rootmaker.com. The Water Hoop is a portable water sprinkler system that allows you to target water evenly around the root ball of your tree or bush. Conforms to various shapes for your watering needs. The Water Hoop reduces runoff and saves money. Visit waterhoop.com. Carpenter bees cause costly structural damage to wood siding, decks, doors, eaves, and railings. Our solution is Trapstick from Rescue. It catches carpenter bees all season long. Trapstick uses no pesticides. Carpenter bees are enticed by colors and pattern and get stuck on the adhesive. Save your wood structures from damage from carpenter bees with Trapstick from Rescue. Made in the USA by the makers of the popular Rescue fly and yellow jacket traps. Learn more at carpenterbeecontrol.com. That's carpenterbeecontrol.com. Chapin has the tools you need to water, feed, and protect your garden. We make equipment for lawn and garden care, and we are always innovating to help make your next growing season a success. Our newest products are the 5010 Rose Duster, watering tools including hose nozzles, sprinklers, and timers, the Mixes on Exit Backpack Sprayer that mixes concentrate as you spray. You can find all products at www.chapinmfg.com, major online retailers, home improvement stores, and hardware stores near you. Protect your outdoor furniture, fire pits, grills, and more with custom covers from coversandall.com. Springtime means you don't know what the weather is going to do. Rain, sun, snow, ice, maybe everything in 48 hours. Covers and All's durable custom covers protects against it all. They've got a bunch of fabrics to choose from, and each one can be customized to fit any style, size, or shape to keep your outdoor furniture looking brand new year-round. Visit them at coversandall.com and use code GARDEN25 at checkout to save 25% off your purchase.
Dig planting holes from a comfortable standing position. Step, twist, pull, and plant. Visit ProPlugger.com.
Thanks for listening to the Gardening with Joe and Holly radio show. As you've heard through the program, many companies offering coupon codes to help you save on great products. If you've missed any of those coupon codes, you can go to our parent website, the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com, and click on the Money tab at the top of the page, and they're all listed for you. The Gardening with Joe and Holly radio show is brought to you by the following: Pro Plugger, Chip Drop, Bellbuster, Johnny Appleseed, Ivy Organic, Milkweed Balm, Walton's Incorporated, Bloomin' Easy Plants, Jung Seeds. Find all sponsors at the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com and thank them for their support. Welcome back to the Gardening with Joe and Holly radio show. We're always happy when you decide to be part of the program, and whether you just listen or you email or you give us a call, thank you for being with us today.
How do you water your trees, shrubs, or bushes? You likely drag a hose over to it or a sprinkler. You let the hose or whatnot run for about an hour, half hour, and you forget about it. It maybe cause overwatering, or leaving it there long enough or not long enough, you could cause underwatering. You want to stop doing that. You want to stop dragging your hose around, and you can save money with the tree diaper. No hoses drag around constantly. It's convenient. Tree diaper is a revolutionary watering system that slowly releases stored rainwater when trees need it. The tree diaper is filled with water from rain or when you water, and it slowly releases water over 3 weeks' time. Tree diaper will improve the way you water your plants. Every time it rains, Tree Diaper recharges. Made in the USA. Check out all the sizes they have available at treediaper.com. That is treediaper.com.
Whether you're looking to hydrate a container in the house, on the patio porch deck, trees, bushes, shrubs, vegetables. We talked in the last segment about growing winter squash and summer squash. We had some very nice winter squash this past growing season a year ago because we used the tree diaper, because those were in beds in which we did not have an irrigation system hooked up. So treediaper.com, you need something watered, it will water it for you. Well, vermiculite and perlite, Holly, are two terms that people, gardeners, have maybe heard of, but they're not completely totally understanding of what that is. These are used a lot in potting mixes or seed starting mixes.
Absolutely. And actually, this is something I learned. I knew there was a difference. I guess I just thought like one was better than the other or something. Okay. Or maybe one was used in certain soils for certain reasons, but I never knew like the true difference. So we can talk about that. Okay,
perlite is the lightweight granular material that's white. That's the stuff that looks like like a styrofoam in your potting mix. It is not styrofoam, and do not ever add styrofoam to your potting mix.
Right, you don't want to add styrofoam. And actually, perlite is the white in color one, and it does look like a little bit of styrofoam, but it's made from expanded volcanic glass.
So you're not going to make this in the backyard. But this, and what is the purpose, Holly, for either, for really realistically, vermiculite and perlite? What is the end goal for these materials?
So this is for soil that you need to, perlite is what you need for soil that you want to dry out completely, essentially. Uh-huh. So if you have a plant, like a succulent or a cactus, where you want the soil to dry out, you would add that perlite.
Now, all of this came to be a couple of weeks ago when Ilana, who listens to us on WAAM 1600 AM and 92.7 FM out of Ann Arbor, Michigan, wrote in to gardentalkradio@gmail.com, and she said her question was, a friend said that if she puts vermiculite in her garden soil, it will help retain moisture. But I've never heard of doing this. Is in the outside garden, is this something that gardeners should be doing? And that's what spurred this whole conversation. And the answer to that question is yes, you can put vermiculite in the garden, actual in-ground garden. Now, most people would go to compost to mitigate the soil, to build the soil, but you can use vermiculite to do such.
Right, and I just wanted to go back to perlite real quick.
Yeah.
If you have clay soil, you can mix that in, and it's going to help break up that clay soil. So that's
now neither one of these, vermiculite or perlite, ever break down. They don't compost down to nothing. They're going to be that state forever. So if you're thinking about, I'll just throw it in the compost, it's going to be beneficial, but it's not going to disappear.
Right. So vermiculite is used for plants that require soil to stay damp and not dry out. So what it does is it does absorb that water, and then
and air pockets. It creates air pockets and allows the roots to grow and not be restricted. If you are in the ground garden, you have a lot of clay material or a lot of clay soil. It's hard. There's nutrients locked up in that clay soil, but it's so dense that the plants can't get to it. So you got to get some way of loosening the soil, remitigating the soil, or getting the soil loosened. And again, people would go to the compost aspect of it, but you also can do the vermiculite. Now, when you go pound for pound or cubic foot by cubic foot, compost is way cheaper than vermiculite. You're looking at good quality agricultural grade vermiculite. 4 cubic feet, you're looking at $60 to $80 to $100 a bag. And you can get this at your independent garden center or your hydroponics store. But compost, I can get a couple of yards for $70. And a yard is 3 by 3 by 3 by 3.
Right, but you're not growing just in vermiculite.
No.
You're adding it to your soil,
Correct.
to your potting mix, what have you. And a lot of people do make their own potting mix or seed starting mix, and you would buy, a bag of vermiculite for them.
Right. Absolutely. No, you're not growing in 100% vermiculite or perlite. Now, some people will use this as they'll plant their seed in a starter cup or tray or root maker tray and cover the seed with vermiculite or perlite because it is very light and allows the seed, it causes the seed essentially less stress or less work to poke through. But when we're mixing it in the garden, you want horticultural grade and medium grade, horticultural grade vermiculite. There's a couple of different categories. There's a couple of different courses of sizes. You want a medium grade. They've got a fine grade and a rough grade. Medium grade seems to be what is highly recommended if you are going to incorporate either one of these into the garden. Now,
something to keep in mind is it can absorb 3 to 4 times its weight.
So if you're in an area, if your garden lays low and you have problems of the soil being dense, you might want to go with that compost aspect rather than this because now you're going to have soil that doesn't dry out ever. Unless you're growing rice, that might not be the answer to your situation.
And I think this is important to talk about because so many people, see perlite, vermiculite, and then they might, the garden center person might say, oh, add this to your soil.
But again, Ray, at the garden center,
right? You don't know.
That's why you go to your independent garden center.
Well, even then, they might not know that you have a low-laying area that there's mushrooms and rice growing out of.
Right.
So that's why it's important to know these things and the difference.
Right. Now, if you make your own, you're going to incorporate this in order to add the fluffness, what they call it, the fluffness, to the garden. But
the fluffness.
The fluffness, yeah.
I like it. Yeah, definitely. You want to keep this in mind now that you know this. And if you are, a lot of people over the past couple of years have gotten houseplants, and now you're like, okay, this plant, I want it to dry out. What am I doing wrong? Maybe you want to get some perlite.
Right.
And you want to incorporate that with your houseplant soil.
So you can incorporate perlite or vermiculite in your outdoor garden. But before you go and run to the garden center and get a bag for $80 or however much it is, you want to know what it can do, because that may not be the answer to the problem. Compost may be the answer. You may want to hold the vermiculite and the perlite for your raised bed containers, your grow bags, those type of items, and not necessarily in the physical ground. So hopefully that has enlightened.
And I think,
yes, go ahead.
I think one thing to mention is that you don't have to do all the things.
No.
So you could try, I'm going to try to grow this in compost. I'm going to add vermiculite to this and kind of see what works best.
Well, for us, some of the greatest achievements we ever had was being lazy.
Right.
Because we're going to get to that. We got to do it. And we didn't get to it. And man, that tomato really grew good by us not messing with it.
Exactly.
Or zucchini or fill in the blank plant. So laziness is not always bad.
Or maybe not overthinking.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've always said if it takes more than 2 minutes to figure out where a plant needs to go, just put the plant where you thought it needed to go and move on.
Very true. Very true.
Well, speaking of problems, hopefully we solved some of yours there, but you're going to have some problems if you don't worry about getting rid of those beetles and grubs in your yard, because they're there. Spring's coming. It's getting warm, and they're ready to come at you.
I'm sure, spring is here and it starts to hopefully get warmer every day. And you want to think about being outside more. Those Japanese beetles, they're laying those eggs and whatnot into your garden, and you want to control them.
Right. Grub Gone can be applied to your turf, garden, around ornamentals, to lessen the impact that those grubs have. and the beetles have on your yard this summer. Easy to apply. Here's how you do it. Commercial spreader or irrigate it right into the soil. Biologically, specifically to target only the grubs, beetles, and those invaders, meaning that they have made this product to where it only attacks and deals with those beetles and grubs. It doesn't bother or hurt or harm bees, butterflies, and ladybugs.
Right, and it's the only non-chemical that works. You can find out more at phyllombioproducts.com. That's PHYLLOM bioproducts.com. You use code GardenTalk10 to save 10% off your orders at phyllombioproducts.com.
Absolutely, that's what you got to go. phyllombioproducts.com, GardenTalk10 for 10% off your order. Hangout chicken expert and author Lisa Steele coming up next.
Have a garden question? Give Joey and Holly a call now or anytime 24/7. Just dial 1-800-927-SHOW. If you can't get through, leave a message and they will call you back. Call now 1-800-927-SHOW.
If you could double the life of your raised bed boxes by sealing the wood with a clear, non-toxic wood preservative, would you? Well, now you can with a clear, penetrating product called Internal Wood Stabilizer. It's 100% non-toxic and easy to apply. Seal your untreated wood surfaces, even chicken coops, by spraying on Internal Wood Stabilizer. It's invisible, seals the wood from the inside out, and never wears off. Recommended by organic gardening experts. Internal Wood Stabilizer. Check it out at timberprocoatingsusa.com.
Protect your plants from damage with the 3-in-1 Plant Guard and Special Blend Fertilizer. Visit ivorganics.com. Use promo code RADIO10 to save 10% off your order.
Straw bale gardening is all the rage. Get your bale started easily with the Bale Buster Straw Bale Conditioning Formula. This is the only product that has been specifically formulated for use in straw bale gardening. Each unit contains 250 million colony-forming units of trichoderma, fungi, and bacillus bacteria. In addition to the fertilizer itself, produces fantastic results with a bountiful production of vegetable crops. Start with the best to get the best. Traditional or organic formula. Take the guesswork out of conditioning your straw bale. Go to balebuster.com to find out more. Have you ever tried to carry all your tools and supplies on your tractor? You fumble around looking for the right one, unsafely holding them while you drive. Big Tool Rack developed a range of carry-all systems that attaches to your compact tractor in seconds, creating a mobile workstation that allows you to safely carry your tools and supplies. Big Tool Rack's telescoping wheel system and 3-point hitch connections allows you to quickly attach and detach the carry-all system for easy storage. Working around the house, the homestead, or the farm, Big Tool Rack has your back and all your tools. Use code MYRACK5 for 5% off purchases at BigToolRack.com. Find out why we're built to haul it all. Take the guesswork out of composting with hot bin composting. Quickly break down food scraps within 30 to 90 days. Find out more at hotbincomposting.com. This week's garden tip is sponsored by the amazing Dr. Zymes. Eliminate and prevent garden pests with their 100% all-natural, all-in-one insecticide and fungicide. Experience powerful natural protection from insects, fungus, mold, and mildew. Try a free sample. Visit drzymes.com/garden talk. Common soil-borne diseases include dampening off, root rot, and vascular wilt, and can exhibit symptoms such as tissue discoloration, wilting of foliage, root decay, and sudden death. Adding the amazing Dr. Zymes to your soil as a liquid feed will help prevent these issues. This will prevent the pest problems and fungal problems and ensure a higher rate of success. Since it is a concentrate, a little goes a long way. Dr. Zymes is OMRI listed, safe up to the day of harvest, and does not leave a residue. That helpful garden tip was sponsored by the amazing Dr. Zymes. Eliminate and prevent garden pests with their 100% all-natural, all-in-one insecticide and fungicide. Experience powerful natural protection from insects, fungus, mold, and mildew. Try a free sample. Visit drzymes.com/garden talk.
Jung Seed Company is a family-owned and operated gardening company since 1907 with the largest selection of seeds and plants online. Use code 10TG22 to receive 10% off your order at jungseed.com. That code again is 10TG22. Make watering easy. DripWorks provides quality drip irrigation supplies and equipment to gardeners just like you for all your growing needs across the U.S. and Canada. Purchase online at dripworks.com.
Thanks for listening to the Gardening with Joe and Holly radio show. As you've heard through the program, many companies offering coupon codes to help you save on great products. If you've missed any of those coupon codes, you can go to our parent website, the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com, and click on the Money tab at the top of the page, and they're all listed for you. The Gardening with Joe and Holly radio show is brought to you by the following: Rootmaker, Dripworks, Pomona Universal Pectin, Phylum Bioproducts, Tree Diaper, Chapin Manufacturing Incorporated, Deer Defeat, Water Hoop. Find all sponsors at the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com and thank them for their support. Welcome back to the Gardening with Joe and Holly radio show. Chicken expert and author Lisa Steele moments away. But first, Simple Grow has a product. It's 100% worm castings, and it will feed your soil, which feeds your plants.
Are you worrying about your plant growth? Provide your plants with what they need to grow to their potential. Simple Grow offers 100% organic worm castings. That's at simplegrow.com. Unlike other worm casting products, when you order from Simple Grow, you are getting 100% worm castings.
That's it, 100%. Full bag.
Not filler plus castings. Promote ideal soil structure and aeration with Simple Grow's all-natural and odor-free worm castings. There's only one ingredient, worm castings. So you don't have to worry about any chemicals or additives that will seep into your food. And it doesn't smell like other fertilizers. It's good for indoor, outdoor use. You can buy it by the bag, bundle, ton, or truckload. Check out more with simplegrow.com. 100% worm castings and what they can do to your plants.
Absolutely. Well, Holly, let's go to the Proclamation Hotline, brought to you by Proclamation Goods, and bring in our guest for this week.
Fifth-generation chicken keeper and expert, Lisa Steele is well recognized as the creative force behind Fresh Eggs Daily, the most popular destination for natural poultry keeping advice on the internet and one of the most influential players in the backyard chicken keeping community. She's dubbed Queen of the Coop by the media. Lisa has been dishing out advice on raising chickens, ducks, and geese naturally via her blog and social media platform, Fresh Eggs Daily, for more than a decade. Welcome to the program, Lisa.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Well, we thank you for taking time out of your day to not only educate Holly and myself, but all of our listeners. And we're going to learn some stuff here because Holly and I are not chicken experts, and we appreciate the time that you're going to offer us.
Yeah, chicken keeping has gotten super popular, especially in the last 2 years. But really over the last decade, so many people are getting into chicken keeping. So it's a great topic.
Fantastic. So with that being said, what was the biggest surprise that people have or you have had about raising chickens?
I think what surprises people most is how pet-like they are. You know, people get them thinking they're going to get fresh eggs and it's going to be great. You know, they have a garden, they get vegetables from the garden, they'll get some eggs from their chickens. And then once you get them, you realize that they all have their own little personality and different breeds have different personalities. And I think people are actually surprised that they become pets very quickly.
Well, they have that's where the term pecking order comes from. There is a hierarchy in a herd of chickens. Am I correct on this?
Yes, they take it very seriously. Their spot it means they get the best treats. They get to pick where they want to sleep at night. So yeah, it's a real thing. Well,
I guess the question would be, what are 2 reasons why you would recommend raising chickens? And then on the other hand, what are 2 reasons why you would say to somebody, maybe chickens aren't for you?
Yeah, great questions. Obviously, fresh eggs is the number one reason to raise chickens. But especially as gardeners, chickens produce a lot of manure. And chicken manure is really great for the garden. It's high in nitrogen. It's great for composting. So I think if people aren't taking advantage of that aspect of chicken keeping, they're really missing out because that is another sort of added free benefit. So those would be 2 reasons to keep chickens. I guess a reason not to, people don't realize maybe that eggs are seasonal. Chickens don't lay every day all year round like clockwork, and they also don't lay their whole life. So they might only lay well for, say, 2 or 3 years. You know, and then they start to drop down a little in production. But we have chickens that are 10 and 11 years old. So you have to be prepared to sort of run a chicken retirement home, I guess you should call it, for them. I think a lot of people aren't ready for that. And then keeping them safe from predators is probably the biggest challenge. No matter where you live, there's something that wants to eat your chickens. So it's kind of like a constant battle, and it can be kind of stressful at times.
Now I'm going to, I know a little bit enough. I know enough about chickens to get me in trouble here. There are certain breeds that do better in certain climates. So you just don't want to go down to the farm store. And that's about this time of year when people go, oh, look, baby chickens, let's get 4. And they have no idea what they're getting themselves into.
Yeah, that's a good point. And, some feed stores and farm stores are super responsible and get breeds that are good for the area that they're in. And they've done a little research, and others just kind of pick whatever. And it's like going into a candy store and, I'll take 2 of those and 2 of those. So it really is a good idea. Or if you live in a climate that's moderate, like middle of the country, you probably are going to be okay with any breeds. If you live where it's cold, like you live and where I live, doing some research into some cold hardy breeds is a good idea. Rhode Island Reds, Buckeyes, anything in the Orpington family, Brahmas, the bigger girls, the fuller bodied girls, I guess you'd say. But if you live in the South where it gets hot, chickens do not do well in the heat. So you really want to do some research into breeds that are going to do well in warm climates. And those tend to be the Mediterranean breeds. They're smaller, sleeker, have big combs. Those combs are what lets the heat out of their body. They act like radiators. So a little research is a good idea.
Well, and not every municipality allows chickens and or allows all the chickens that you get. Male, they would only allow females. You can't have roosters. There's a whole lot of it's not just let's go get it and we'll deal with it later. There's some stuff you gotta prepare for this.
Yeah, and it's a good idea to find out. Talk to your town, call the town office, find out how many chickens you can have. Like you said, sometimes you're not allowed a rooster because it is sort of a big time commitment and expense just to turn around and find out that you weren't allowed to have chickens after all.
Yeah, that can definitely be frustrating. So tell us about your newest book, the Fresh Eggs Daily Cookbook. What can our listeners expect? It sounds like it's a spin-off or a companion book to the Fresh Eggs Daily book.
Yeah, I've written a couple of books on raising chickens and one on raising ducks. And I kind of had covered everything to do with their health and their care and what chickens eat and all that kind of stuff. And I thought that the next natural progression would be to write a cookbook to kind of help people find new recipes with what to do with all their eggs. I've encouraged a lot of people to raise chickens over the years, and they have a lot of eggs now. So it was a lot of fun to come up with recipes for breakfast, lunch, dinner, dessert, sweet, savory, just a wide variety of very egg-centric recipes.
And eggs are not, many people, eggs for breakfast. Eggs can be for many dishes for any time of the day.
Yes, and that's what I really tried to put forth in this book. I mean, I personally love breakfast for dinner. So, scrambled eggs and toast and bacon or an omelet or what have you. But yeah, absolutely. I don't know how eggs first started just sort of being a breakfast food, but they really are great for any time of day, especially if you're trying to cut back a little on red meat. If you know someone who's a vegetarian, and they're just so versatile. There's so much that you can do with an egg.
Definitely. And they also are really good for people who have digestive issues, and they're a safe food for that. So they are versatile and something that anybody can typically enjoy. So we are talking with Lisa Steele. She is the expert at fresheggsdaily.com, an author. So what are some tips for beginners? You had mentioned, researching your breed, but other than that, you're excited. You've done some research. You're ready to get your chickens. What are some let's keep this in mind type tips?
I think the biggest thing is where they're going to live once they get outside. Most people start with baby chicks, so they're in your house, they're under a heat lamp. You've got them in a laundry room or a mudroom or garage or something like that, keeping an eye on them, making sure that they're warm enough and they have enough food. And then after about 8 weeks or 10 weeks, they're going to be going outside. So having your coop ready, whether you turn a playhouse or a shed into a coop, or you build one, or you buy a kit, or however you get your structure that they're going to live in with an attached pen. So they are outside, they're safe from predators. I mean, honestly, really the only hard thing about raising chickens is keeping things from eating them. Honestly, I mean, other than that, it's fairly easy. You feed them, you give them water, you collect the eggs, put them to bed at night. It's just setting up a routine.
And correct me if I'm wrong. Well, I guess the question should be, what is a good number of chickens to start with? I know that if you have one, it gets depressed, and that's not a joke. They get depressed and they don't do egg laying. So what is a good starter number in your flock, I guess would be the question.
That's a good question. And yes, they are flock animals, and they're not going to be happy, one chicken by itself. And plus, if something happens to that chicken, or if you get two and something happens to the one chicken. So I would say a minimum of 3, but most areas, even urban or suburban areas that have started to allow chickens, they allow 5 or 6. So I would say 5 or 6 is a nice starter size. And then depending if that's all that you're allowed to have, that might be the extent of it. Or, if you live out in a little more rural area, you're going to have, 12, 24, 176, the flock just keeps growing and growing.
So some people, when you go into something new, whether it be cohabitating or having a child or getting a pet, you might find some things are overrated, Not everybody's going to find a cat that wants to sleep in a cat bed. Is there anything where, with chickens, like there's general advice that is extremely overrated, or maybe something you would want to wait on if people were, making purchases for their chickens?
Yes, that's very true. And because it has become so popular now, the stores and online are flooded with all sorts of things for chickens. And I mean, really, I buy enamelware trays and roasting pans and things like that secondhand, and I use those for feed and water. I mean, I don't get super fancy. People freak out if the chicken feed gets on the ground. The chickens don't care. They'll eat it right off the ground. People, they ask how often I clean my coop, or how often, even worse, I rake out their pen, which is never. Everything just disintegrates and turns into dirt. The poop and the feathers and the leaves, and it just all, turns back to dirt, and they scratch around in it and they're happy. So I think people get crazy with the cleaning, and you'll make yourself nuts, because they are livestock. And, anyone who's had animals and had a barn, that it's just not going to be as clean as your house, and the animals, for the most part, they don't care. They live outside and they scratch in the dirt. And I think people burn out that way if they just try to keep everything so clean and that, because you're just going to burn out with it. You need to just pace yourself, realize that they are outdoor animals and they eat worms and slugs and bugs and all kinds of crazy stuff.
Absolutely. A very different mindset from an urban new chicken person or owner than a farmer who's had chickens and cattle and hogs, and there's two separate worlds there. And we always encourage people, if they can't have chickens because of their situation, they should support their local farmers market and buy free-range eggs from their farmers market, because there is a tremendous difference between the store-bought eggs and the eggs that you get from either your own chicken or chickens that are local. And how, am I correct? It's night and day difference?
Oh, it definitely is. You could definitely tell. Yeah, a farmer's market, or even just drive around your neighborhood and look for some fresh egg signs or something like that, because so many people have chickens now. But yes, you absolutely can tell the difference. The fresh eggs, the yolks are going to be bright orange, and the egg is just going to taste fresh.
And they're going to be different colors.
It's going to be different. Yes, different colors. And the eggs themselves, they can be blue and green and tan and pink and whatever, which is fun. All the same nutrition inside, but the nutrition of an egg laid by a chicken that's walking around a field or a yard or a pasture all day, eating all kinds of things, grains and flowers and herbs and all that, is just going to taste so much better, be far more nutritious, and they're going to be fresher. The store-bought eggs are never going to be as fresh as what you can get locally. And that means that when you crack your egg in the pan, the white is not going to spread all over the place. It's just going to kind of stay where it belongs. As the egg gets old, the protein bonds break down and everything just gets really watery.
For a fun fact, what is about the average from hatch to grocery store? How much time is elapsed there normally?
Oh, fun fact. I do check every once in a while just because, I'm that person. I would say the average egg on the supermarket shelf is probably 4 to 6 weeks old. Unless you happen to just catch it when they've restocked, probably 4 to 6 weeks old by the time you even pick it up and put it in your cart.
That's just amazing. Well, we've really enjoyed having you on the show. How can our listeners find out more about your new book, your previous books, all of your great information?
Absolutely, yes. Super easy. FreshEggsDaily.com is my blog. You can find me at Fresh Eggs Daily on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest. My books are all on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, local library, local bookstore, pretty much anywhere books are sold. Yeah, if anybody has any interest in, raising chickens or ducks or eating eggs.
Well, Lisa, we greatly appreciate that. All the information you've educated Holly and myself, and I know you've educated our listeners across the country. We thank you for that.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're absolutely welcome. When we come back, it's your garden questions, our garden answers.
Got a question for Joey and Holly? Send it via email anytime to gardentalkradio@gmail.com.
Pomona's Universal Pectin is a high-quality pectin that gels reliably with low amounts of any sweetener. If you're trying to reduce the amount of sugar in your diet, you'll love Pomona's Universal Pectin. Now you can make healthy homemade jams and jellies sweetened to your taste. You can use sugar or honey to sweeten. Pomona's Universal Pectin keeps indefinitely when stored in an airtight container. Easy to use, versatile, and comes with directions and recipes in every box. Find out more and where to buy at PomonaPectin.com. Also available at natural food stores and online.
Deer Defeat is an all-natural repellent to keep deer, rabbits, and groundhogs away from your precious plants. Deer Defeat protects your plants day and night, dries clear, and odorless. It will not clog your sprayer. Deer Defeat works for 30 days through rain, snow, and freeze. Safe, effective, and works on rabbits. Money-back guarantee. To purchase, go to DeerDefeat.com and use code RADIO to save 10% on your order. Deer Defeat. It can't be beat. Brought to you by Blue Ribbon Organics, providing locally made organic compost and soil blends for gardens, farms, landscaping, and more. Visit BlueRibbonOrganics.com or call 262-497-8539 to find their products nearest you. With the right tools, plant maintenance is easy and more effective. Ironwood Tool Company has the right tools for your project. From pruners to loppers to saws and shears and cleanup tools, get the right tool for this season, making your job much easier. Find them all at ironwoodtools.com. We know that you appreciate the value of a beautifully landscaped yard, but tackling such a project yourself can seem way too complicated, right? Bloomin' Easy Plants are the answer. Their plants are low maintenance and offer exceptional beauty and color for your yard. Plus, they offer free seasonal care reminders with simple how-to videos tailored to the plants that you choose. With Bloomin' Easy on your side, creating the yard that you've always wanted becomes as easy as plant, water, and relax. Check them out at your local garden center or by visiting bloomineasyplants.com. Chip Drop is a website you can sign up for free wood chip mulch delivery right to your door for free. Chip Drop connects homeowners and gardeners with tree services who are trying to get rid of their wood chips. You can also sign up to get free logs and firewood. Go to chipdrop.com to learn more and sign up for a free account. Thanks for listening to the Garden with Joe and Holly radio show. As you've heard through the program, many companies offering coupon codes to help you save on great products. If you've missed any of those coupon codes, you can go to our parent website, the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com, and click on the Money tab at the top of the page, and they're all listed for you. The Gardening with Joe and Holly radio show is brought to you by the following: Tree Ripe, Covers and All, Ironwood Tool Company, Timber Pro Coatings, Blue Ribbon Organics, Natural Green Products, Algae Men, Dr. Zyme, Happy Leaf LED, Rescue, Big Tool Rack, Hot Bin Composting, Proclamation Goods. Find all sponsors at the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com and thank them for their support. Welcome back to the Garden with Joe and Holly radio show. Thank you for being with us today. If you got a question, you can send that over. GardenTalkRadio@gmail.com, GardenTalkRadio@gmail.com, or you can give us a call on the Proclamation Hotline brought to you by Proclamation Goods, and that number is 1-800-927-SHOW, 1-800-927-7469.
Proclamation Goods creates cookware for the eco-conscious home chef. Their pans are non-toxic, have a lifetime warranty, and are made in Wisconsin. Their award-winning stainless steel Proclamation Duo cookware set is a 12-inch skillet and a stock pot that doubles as a wok. Best of all, the skillet and stock pot hinge together to form a Dutch oven. It's two pans with a versatility of 10, empowering you to cook more with less. If you care about your health and strive for a more sustainable lifestyle, then Proclamation Goods is for you. Supply is limited, so order yours now at proclamationgoods.com.
All right. Had a number of questions come in. We'll see what we can get through. Let's go with questions here, Holly.
I'm a new gardener and a bit confused about days to harvest. If I start my seeds inside and transplant them outside, is my days to harvest calculated from the inside date or the outside date?
That's coming from Jen, who listens to our show via podcast from Minnesota, and thank you for that, Jen. The date is days to harvest is based on when that seed goes in the ground or that plant goes in the ground, not when you start the seed indoors. So if it says 40 to 60 days to harvest, that's for bush beans, that's when that seed is planted physically in the outdoor ground. So there you go on that.
So then we also have...
We got a two-part question here. Two people wrote in, and it's going to be the same answer, so we're going to tie them together.
The blossom end rot.
Yep.
I've had horrible blossom rot last year on my potted tomato. I didn't think I got one tomato, but I had another tomato plant that did just fine. No blossom end rot there. I only use organic fertilizer. It says something about using Epsom salt on your website. What's the deal?
The Epsom salt, we didn't know everything, and we still learn. Epsom salt used to be taught in the gardening circles, and it in some places still is, that if you add Epsom salt to the soil, it will fix blossom end rot. However, if you remember anything about science, blossom end rot is a calcium deficiency. Epsom salt is magnesium sulfate. Those two don't go together. What is occurring is you're adding the Epsom salt to the soil, watering it in. The plant is needing water in order to the soil needs to release that calcium for the plant to uptake. So you water the Epsom salt in. Epsom salt does magnificent things for a plant. It helps blossoms form better, more rapid blossoms, a lot more flowers. So that's good. It helps green the plant up even more. But the watering aspect is what is preventing the blossom end rot, the black portion at the bottom of the fruit. So that's what it is. You can add Epsom salt, but just water. Very little to no chance that you have a calcium deficiency in your soil. People will say put powdered milk or powdered crushed eggshells or Tums in the soil. Just water. Water will fix a lot of the issues that you have. And the second question tied into that is sometime back years ago, you talked about adding Epsom salt to the soil when you plant tomatoes. And we don't talk about that anymore because what we just went over in regards to the blossom end rot. Did I cover that correctly, Holly, that blossom end rot with the water releasing? Because people often water early or it's wet in the early seasons and then you forget about it. That's why we encourage you to have a irrigation system, whether it's a tree diaper, water hoop, drip work, something where there is moisture at the roots.
And if you are one that's going to water your plants every day, that's fine, or as needed consistently. Otherwise, if you're like a lot of us who have a busier life, whatever, then we recommend that irrigation.
And in that first question, the plant that had blossom end rot was in a container. The plant that did not was in a straw bale. The straw bale acts as a sponge and holds moisture, allowing that plant to have the adequate moisture it needs as the humus inside the bale breaks down during the conditioning process. So that would make sense. The container dried out, the bale didn't.
Humus,
yes. Mm-hmm. Well, we appreciate your time. That will do it for this week's show. Did you miss any portion of the program today or want to revisit it? We cover something too quickly and you need a little clarification. You can certainly do a couple of things there. You can send us an email, gardentalkradio@gmail.com with your question there, or we can send you the link to the program at gardentalkradio@gmail.com. You can check out past shows. You can go to our parent website, the wisconsinvegetablegardener.com, and see everything we have there. Tune in next week. We will be discussing the gearing up for canning. We're going to go over what you need to know and what you don't need to know in order to have a successful, safe canning season, as well as kitchen scraps to compost to fertilizer. And our guest is very popular YouTuber Tim Marks. He is the creator of Tractor Time with Tim. We are going to talk about compact tractors on your property, your homestead, your farm, what you need to look for, what you need to avoid, and it doesn't really matter the color of tractor. That's what he says. I have something to say about that. So until next week, for
Holly Baird,
I'm Joy Baird, and we will see you in the garden.